Number one would be whether Dajjal is existing real time. Now, if we look at the literal wordings of the first hadith, which is the hadith of Tamim Uddari, the hadith indicates to us that Dajjal is alive and on earth. The only thing that is problematic for that particular hadith would be that he was then bound. And then he says, I will soon then be released. However, there are a lot of scholars who say actually that he has already been released, but he has not yet emerged himself for the final battle at the end. Now, the question that you ask me, sir, would be concerning that whatever that we see today concerning corruption, concerning deception, concerning the mixture of falsehood and truth, and so on and so forth, could this be possibly be an extension of the works of Dajjal or his troops? That is the question, right? Now, in my estimation, I do believe that whatever that we see indeed are the works of Dajjal and his armies. Either directly or indirectly, I don't know. So certain people, Dajjal might work in a way in which, without even instructing directly, people pick up on his mission in that particular way. That in this world is either living a lifestyle of Islam, in which at the end of it is wanting good and wanting unity and wanting peace and harmony, or living a life of the Dajjalic lifestyle. Can I use that particular word? Dajjalic lifestyle. I'm going to trademark that word. Right? So it is there in place already. So I would say that it could be possible that it's directly from Dajjal or indirectly from Dajjal. Now, the next question would be that if we assume that this is truly coming from the agents of Dajjal, who are they? That, my sir, I don't think that I can answer. I don't know. Right? Now, I think a more practical look at this should be to look at ourselves and always say we should not be encouraging any type of behavior that is in line with the Dajjalic message. I'm using this term, so sorry. So, we know his works. We know his plans. We know the 4 things in Surah Al-Kahfi that he's going to use. The idea would be that which part of the battle are we going to be on? Right? So I do not think necessarily that if we know the agents of Dajjal, they would actually be of good use. The more important thing for me would be to ensure that we do not encourage the behavior, we do not follow whatever that he would expect of his troops to follow, but rather go against him in that particular lifestyle. So I think that that is more important than anything else. But it's an important question that we need to always think about. And the forces of Dajjal are everywhere. By forces of Dajjal, I'm talking about the widespread evil that is happening, either directly or indirectly from Dajjal. It's happening everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And scholars are talking about this particular issue of Ma'asiyah, in which back then, right, Ma'asiyah was hidden at times. Bad people weren't as public. People would do bad things and they would still feel shame of the bad that they perform. Now, Ma'asiyah is so easily accessible. Right? So it is part of the Dajjalic, it is part of the Dajjal plan. It is, of course, it leads there, nevertheless. Right? So a person today might also perform a particular wrong and be proud of it. There are many levels to the threat of Ma'asiyah. The threats of the level of Ma'asiyah would be that, at times a person does something and it only affects him. There are certain Ma'asiyah in which you perform that Ma'asiyah, it affects you and it affects the society. There are certain types of Ma'asiyah in which it is not so much a Ma'asiyah in regards to affecting you or others, but rather giving a message to the people. In a way in which you are making natural or trying to make acceptable certain practices that are not supposed to be acceptable. And that is the hadith of the Prophet when Prophet ﷺ says, one of the things that would happen at the end of time, from the perspective of lifestyle, would be none other than drinking of alcohol will be widespread. Fornication would be normal. So the idea would be that who makes these things normal? Because throughout history, although they have always been practiced, people view them still to be ma'asiyah. These are still considered to be vice. But there are always people who would want to normalize. So in my estimation, part of the work of Dajjal is to normalize things which are bad. So understanding that, we should not do that. And to not even casually mention certain things good about them. Because certain people are saying these things. Right, tak apalah sikit-sikit je ni. You know what? Well, the society is doing it. Takkanlah salah. No. We said this before already. Just because everything is doing it does not mean that it's right. This is a principle in Islam. Truth is truth in itself. Numbers do not make something good or bad. Truth is truth in itself. This is something we need to truly understand. But Dajjal is going to play the number game. That's why he's going to India and get a lot of followers. And people are going to be impressed by the following of Dajjal. That's the idea, right? So again, the idea of none other than to ensure that we are not on the side of Dajjal, either we realize it or not.